And here in my hand, I have the pit of an avocado. I've never been able to blend one of these up before, but now that I have a Vitamix, I'm going to do it just for kicks and giggles. Also the health benefits. I'm going to read to you my notes from the health benefits that I recorded when I went to the Health, Healing, and Happiness webinar, or not webinar, the conference in Las Vegas, because I can't remember what they are. But for now, check this out. Throw the avocado pit in, see what happens. Try doing that in a regular blender. I know I've tried. Nothing like that happens. I've let it go for like 5 minutes and it's not even close to this. That was on a low speed. Pretty neat. Now I'm going to read to you the notes of the health benefits of the avocado pit. It has about 5 times as much soluble fiber per ounce than just about any other food out there on planet Earth. That alone warrants this. It's antibacterial and antifungal. They inhibit the growth of bacteria, the bad bacteria, while promoting good bacteria. It's a powerful antioxidant. Something like 70-80% of the nutrients and the antioxidants is actually in the avocado pit. You know, the part that we typically throw away. And typically we don't have anything to process it, so we can actually eat it. So that alone warrants a Vitamix, in my opinion. It's anti-cancer, inhibits the growth of cancer cells and the proliferation of cancer cells. Pretty cool. It's extremely anti-inflammatory for the GI tract, and I'm still talking about the seed, not the rest of the avocado. Almost all the nutrients are in the avocado pit. It boosts heart health. It's very good for cardiovascular. It's good for the blood. It's good for the flesh. Monosaturated fats, polyunsaturated fats. They promote healthy blood lipid profiles, support cardiovascular health. It even boosts skin collagen, which is cool, so that you don't have to look like a prune as you get older. And a note that I didn't make, I don't know why I didn't, and so you may want to research this next one, but I remember hearing something along the lines of, because it's so dense in fiber that it pulls any kind of plaque buildup on the arterial vessel walls, and also detoxes the liver, which is really good. So that means it can, if I'm remembering correctly, it can do a lot to reverse any kind of hardening or thickening of the arteries and atherosclerosis and all those things, and cleansing the liver at the same time. So huge health benefits for this thing, man, totally. And I also want to make it known that that's the very first thing I did with my Vitamix. You saw me just now pulverize that avocado pit and basically turn it into powder. And I'm doing it at my parents' house. I'm going to make them something with a bunch of fruits and greens that I bought just now, make up a concoction. It's going to be pretty good. So this is the first place I'm using it, is my parents' house. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Okay, so I'm going to throw a bunch of stuff together, and generally I've found as long as I keep it about half fruits and about the other half vegetables like dark leafy greens, it always turns out pretty good. Can't really mess it up. So let's go. No particular order. This is part of the pineapple. I actually kept the hard core part in it because it's got most of the nutrients right in there. And I actually shaved off most of the outer flesh just to keep it more blood sugar friendly, because my mom is a diabetic, as most of you know. Here's the lemon, a whole lemon. And I carved off the outer zest layer because it's got kind of a bitter taste. I'm fine with it, but I want my parents to enjoy it, so I got rid of it. But there's a speck there, that's all it. But that white part there, you can see I kept on. That white part between the outer skin and the flesh of it has got the most nutrients from what I remember at the Health, Healing, and Happiness conference I went to. So we're just going to keep all of that on. And the strawberries, if you notice, I'm keeping the greens and the stems on them because that's where most of the nutrients is at. The rest of it is, for the most part, sugar water and not all that many nutrients. And we typically throw away the greens and the stems, so we're keeping them on now. That's where the value of the Vitamix comes into play. Now the grapes. These are seeded. I didn't get the pitted grapes. And I'm also keeping the vine on there as well, because that's where most of the nutrients are. And I remember hearing from medical doctors that there's a lot of anti-cancer things going on inside of the grape seeds. That's my lay person's way of saying it. Banana, typically I do a whole one, but we're just going to do a half because I want to keep the skin on it. It's got kind of a bitter taste. Some raspberries and blackberries. You know how when you make smoothies out of this stuff, you got the seeds and you got to pick them out of your teeth? Well, this is going to pulverize those seeds and totally liquefy them. Another benefit and the value of a Vitamix. I'm adding a whole apple. You know how they say that apple seeds have just a little bit of arsenic poisoning in them and you're not supposed to eat them? Well, I learned from medical doctors and other naturopathic doctors that are trace amounts of arsenic in the apple seeds, but it's just enough to keep cancer away, and at the same time it's not nearly enough to hurt anybody unless you were to eat tons and tons of apple seeds. So we're just going to keep the whole thing in there. The Vitamix, it's really good for doing less work. Obviously in other blenders you wouldn't be able to pulverize something like this, but you can just throw this whole thing in there. I didn't have to take a knife to it at all. It's going to do all the work for me. I loaded this sucker up much more than I thought it would, and I hadn't even got to the greens yet. So what I'm actually going to do is break all this down, and then it'll create more room and I can put the greens on it. One cool thing about a Vitamix that I've never seen on a blender is they got this thing called a panter, so that I don't have to add water to it. If I don't want to, I can make it super thick and creamy and rich by pushing it down with this thing. So let's start. Almost. That view that I gave you just now, looking down that thing when it was on, that's the Vitamix. It's designed in a way where it pulls everything down so it doesn't splatter everywhere. You can take the lid off and it just pulls everything down, pulverizes everything more so that you don't have to work as hard. Pretty neat. And if you notice, I added no water to that whatsoever. It's the only blender I know of where you can do that. Now we're going to add the greens. Everything, by the way, is organic. Let me show you. See? Organic. Same thing with all the fruits that I've added to this as well. And what you vote for with your dollars is what you're asking more for. So vote for health and wellness. Stuffed as many greens as I possibly can into. I think it's going to be a little bit less than 50% greens, but oh well. It's part of getting to know this thing. And this is a big container too. I forget how many ounces it is. Looks like 60 something ounces. Yeah, well over, about 64 I'm going to say. I think that's what it is. One note I want to make about greens that I learned from Dr. Joel Furman. Google him. He's got a lot of good stuff. He's a medical doctor, also went out on his own to become a plant-based whole food nutrition expert. His thing is teaching people how to live totally perfectly healthy and fully functional beyond 100 years of age. That's quite a thing to say. And he's got the track record to prove it. He's got the results. But one thing he said about greens that I remember is that it's the one type of food you can eat as much as you want of, and you cannot overdose on it. And he says that it doesn't have a leveling effect. And what he meant by that is that every other kind of food the body can only absorb and put to use so much of in one sitting, and then it levels off. Greens, it has no leveling effect. So the more of it you eat, the less likely you are to ever get diseases of any kind. So I thought that was pretty neat. And I added more greens to it, so I will have about 50-50 by the time I'm done. As it broke down, I just added more. And who knows, I might even go a third time once this breaks down. And now my conclusion. Okay, so I'm outside because Dad wanted to watch the ball game. It's kind of loud, and I figured, oh, what the heck, I'll just go outside. It makes for a more interesting video anyway if I do some of it outside. But my parents liked it. My mom more so than my dad, I think. But my dad actually asked for seconds, which is really amazing because he typically doesn't go for anything healthy, especially this juicing and smoothie and anything vegan whole food. So that's pretty awesome. Very happy about that. That alone makes the Vitamix worth it. And what we did to the avocado pit in the beginning of this video makes the Vitamix worth it, and everything makes the Vitamix worth it. A $650 machine is the model that I got, and I will provide a link for it so that you can check it out and decide if it's something you want to get too. And you're either going to pay the farmers or the hospitals. It's much better to support the organic farmers. Big time. You're going to have a lot more health and wealth and everything in that vein. Yeah, good stuff. I'm going to be sharing a lot more of what I learned from the Health, Healing, and Happiness Weekend Conference in Las Vegas. I'm going again next year. I just bought my ticket a year in advance because I know I'm going, so why not? Early bird special, right? Go to my website, fireyourboss.xyz, not .com, .xyz, fireyourboss.xyz. I've got many more episodes of vegan cooking and juicing. I've got thousands of videos actually on mindset training and everything that has to do with health, healing, happiness, personal growth, and helping you pay it forward for other people to benefit, and for the environment and the planet to benefit, and the creatures on the planet to benefit, everything to benefit in harmony. Isn't it beautiful? So pull out whatever makes sense for you. It's something that you see that you just want to know more about, just go for it. I got hundreds of blog articles as well, and a big social media presence, and whatever else I can do to perpetuate these messages of health and of healing and of happiness and wealth of every kind. Take care, everyone. Next video coming soon. Thanks so much for watching. Cheers.